Hello, world. I'm DeMarcus.
And I'm Nikki.
Welcome to the first episode of Weed and Whiskey. Yes, this is another podcast. I know you're rolling your eyes. I get it. But hear me out. This podcast is a little different. Let me give you a little origin story and tell you why we're different.
I mean, we're regular people just like y'all. We're a married couple with regular jobs and we do regular shit. But when we aren't working, though, let's just say we're a little different. I'm a filterless diva with a pretty substantial Instagram following. I mean, to me anyway.
And me, I'm just a guy. Not really. I'm a jack of all trades that loves to write. Together, we're going to bring you a podcast that is fun and unconventional as our relationship. So what's it about? We're giving you a front row seat into our lives, but with a twist.
So I know they didn't tell you shit. This show's about our lives, the conversations we have, the things we talk about, and the stories. And bruh, we got some good stories.
Oh, and the title? She's the weed and I'm the whiskey. You'll understand what that means shortly. Let's start the damn show. All right, first things first, guys. I just want to explain these segments as we go. So our show is basically going to be, we're going to catch you up with what's been going on with us. Then we're going to talk about some stories, and then we're going to do some rapid fire question style stuff. And that's about it. First thing, the whiskey of this episode is George Dickel Sour Mash Whiskey. It's the black label bottle. Good stuff. I drink it. They ain't paying me.
It's one of your favorites.
And you got your blunt over there?
Yeah. What's left of it?
Damn. You ain't got a whole lot left then, huh?
I don't. I'm going to have to get another.
Oh. You want to do that? Oh, all right, Lil Wayne.
You know, just a few. Hopes.
So this first segment is basically the week exposed. So we're going to do a show every 2 weeks or so. And we just want to catch up what's been going on in our lives. So this is our first episode. So there isn't really much to catch you up on. So we'll start with New Year's Eve. Happy New Year. We're recording this on the evening of January 1st. And
New Year, everybody.
Happy 2025. We just had a New Year's Eve get together. You want to talk about that and how that got going?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great little get together. We had some of our experimental friends, I guess you could say.
I mean, you could say what they are. So the party was an experiment. Let me start because I'm gonna tell you the deal. She just gonna try to gloss over the shit.
I'll elaborate on everything that you add.
So basically, we've been having get-togethers since June, May, something like that. I wouldn't call them parties. I call them kickbacks, get-togethers, something like that, because it's not crazy. It's not wild. It's just people coming over, hanging out, eating, drinking, having conversation. That's what it is.
Friends that are like family.
Yeah. Each time is a little bit different. And we've kind of, with the holiday season, been burning the wick at both ends. And I'm checked out. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything.
No, we're tired.
We're worn out. It's January, and January is the month I'm disappeared.
January kicks our asses.
So we got through Christmas. That kind of was our goal. I didn't want to. We had to get together last month. It was a pajama party. It went well. It was great. Loved it. Had a great time.
Two get-togethers last month because we had the PJ party, and then three then if you count the Friendsgiving because
what was
we had the tea party.
Oh,
the little tea party.
Yeah, we did. We had 3 get-togethers.
Yeah,
last month, which is not ever what I wanted to do, but I mean it was fun. I'm not saying that we
had a great time. We did not have them, but it was just a lot. Now in hindsight, now that we're through everything, it was a lot.
Yeah, just putting things together and getting everything done, the ideas, the cooking, because we don't just say come over.
No,
it's not like, hey, everybody come over on Friday and we're gonna have a kickback and stuff like that. I do invitation for it. So we try to make it look nice. So we do an invitation, We come up with a theme sometimes, most of the time. New Year's Eve is pretty much New Year's Eve. You don't need a theme. It just is.
Right. And these are like simple themes, like, like we're having a barbecue, or, we're having a pool party, or, a PJ party, stuff like that. So, I mean, they're just very simple, nothing crazy extravagant by any means.
Yeah, we're not saying it's a 1980s party where it's in a high school gym or something like that. We don't do those type of things. So I'm trying to set the scene for you guys.
A little house party.
It's a house party, but there's a lot that goes into the house party. And then she does the cooking, the dips, and a lot of our friends will chip in and bring stuff. But the day before, a couple days before, day of is always hell for us. And then we have a great time.
All kinds of stuff. And then finally, when it happens, we have an amazing time.
And then you're tired for like a week after that. So that's the scene. I didn't want to do anything for Christmas. This is after Thanksgiving, after the Friendsgiving, all that. And people started asking. And then Nikki started asking. She wanted to do something, so now I had to. So we put it together. It was going to be low key. This is kind of like our low budget event. Like the budget was cut from the year. This is all we had left. So, but it still was great. I mean, we only had 6 or 7 people over.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, this was a mixed company party. For us, what that means, we are, I'll just go ahead and say it. We're a poly couple. We date other people and we're married. So there's already the first plot twist. These people, like, they're friends.
Our friends.
Yes, our friends came. And then some of our friends that were invited that weren't poly, we call them vanilla. Our vanilla friends were supposed to come. So this is like the first mixed company get together that I think we've had.
It is the first one that we've had.
And we only had one vanilla person, but she's cool. We're not out or anything like that. We're
not trying to push this on anybody. It's just what works for us, and it makes us happy, and it keeps our relationship open and fresh and new. And I mean, we come back and tell each other everything.
Yeah, that's a kink I developed I didn't know I had. But that might be another episode.
We'll get into that at another time. Back to the story. So yes, we had a little kickback. There were 8 of us actually. And we I did up food and stuff. We told everybody to come in party type attire to start the night off.
Which I had no clue what that meant, because I was trying to dress up like in an early 2000s Knicks jersey with blue jean shorts and
he was trying to do
I was trying to look like Nelly in the Tip Drill video. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Nelly in the Tip Drill video.
Band-Aid on the face Nelly.
Yeah,
not today's Nelly. What I wanted was today's Nelly, not the Band-Aid Nelly. Anyway, but he figured it out. And
thank you.
You're welcome. But yeah, so like I wanted, party type attire. And so like I had a cute little emerald green dress and fishnet stockings and leopard print shoes. And,
she was looking sexy as fuck. I ain't gonna lie.
I mean, just something like that. But then we told everybody that we knew would be staying a little bit later, because usually what happens at these get-togethers, well, with this one being the first mixed company, what generally happens is the people that don't participate in the poly experiences, they generally leave a little earlier.
The non-polyamorous people kind of leave.
Versus,
we don't push them out.
No,
it's not
by any means.
It's like the last one left kind of leave.
They just kind of leave because, people start talking about things or whatever.
And what do you mean by participation? You need to break it down.
Okay, so...
What are we participating in?
Well, I mean, that's what I was just going to say. Participation can be multiple different levels. You can have a very basic participation where everybody's just sitting around talking, standing around talking, I mean, shooting the shit or whatever. You also can have situations happen like what happened multiple times in our garage last night, which was, somebody was wearing a sex toy, a portable sex toy, and she ended up being stimulated enough to squirt in our garage. That happened. And
I gotta tell y'all how that happened though. So we'll back up a little bit. So, like I said, our friends were here with the people that I know I've told. I haven't told a whole lot, and you haven't told very many either.
No.
One of those people was the vanilla person here. So everything was still cool. You don't weird them out or anything, but they know what the deal is and what
she knows how we live our life.
Yeah, she knows what we do. Now, this, again, back to scene setting on this, it's not like a regular party in that you have a get together, people are talking about music, politics, what they do for a living. We do all of that.
It's the same type of a social situation that you would have at any other party. It's just that eventually at some point
titties is coming out. You might see a dick.
And sex is discussed.
And sex
or
may be had.
Or, whatever. Clothing generally comes off of some sorts. Not all of it, not all the time.
Yeah, it's not a 1, 2, 3, go.
No, it's definitely not a, everybody get naked on the count of 3 kind of thing. It's just as people feel moved throughout the evening, you just kind of take people's leads and go from there. But generally, if things are going to pop off, it's going to be like the last thing that happens of the evening. And then people either...
And it's very discreet.
Right.
It's not out in the open.
No.
Except for last night. It was just...
Well, yeah. But I mean, and that wasn't even technically out in the open. We were in our garage, in our lounge area. So, I mean, big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, but
it was fun. I enjoyed it.
I mean, we had a fantastic time.
I went and bought you one.
Yes, you did. You did.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're working through that. We're gonna find something to put the motion in the ocean. But yeah, that was really. I had a great time. The conversations we had with the 8 of us, they were great. We're conversation people.
Absolutely.
You learn so much in this lifestyle from other people that do it a little bit differently. I mean, we were all. I guess kind of you can lump us all in the same boat, but we're not the same. It's just a similar situation. And I do my best to live by, my grandma used to say when she was alive, do to suit yourself. And what that meant to me was just live and let live in a way. It's just like, I don't pass judgment on anybody's lifestyle.
Mind your business.
This is not for everybody. Not everybody can do this. Not everybody should do this.
No.
This works for us. This is what we do. We have a little community. We enjoy ourselves and each other.
Right.
And
it's one of those things that, if the situation did not present itself, this is not something that we have to do this is what makes us happy for now. This is not something, we may not be like this the rest of our lives, but at this point, it works for us. We meet all kinds of very interesting people, and it's not something that is purely a sexual thing by any means. If you get to that, then yeah, that's great. But it's one of those things that's not what you get into this lifestyle for. It's not strictly about just sex.
It's not smash and grab.
No.
It's not, as a guy, my male friends, I tell about this, and I've told 3 or 4 of my guy friends, and a lot of times they have questions and I answer them. Sometimes those questions are like, you've been sitting at home last week, I guess nothing's going on. I'm like, I'm not planning on doing anything. I have a family, I have kids, I have adult kids, and they require a lot of my time. So
we have a whole life. And
this is just part of it.
It's just a very small segment of our life. And like I said, whether we continue to do this long term for years and years, I mean, it's just totally what's going to work for us. It's not something that we feel like we have to do. If it ever becomes a situation where we're not comfortable with it, then our marriage is still very solid and is still going to go on. Like, that's not changing.
I put her whole bag together. So
Exactly.
yeah, when she goes out to on a date or to hook up with a guy or meet a guy somewhere, I put her bag together. I mean, we have a whole calendar for this. So.
Right.
We know what's going on. We know who's where, what,
Yep.
why, and that's just what works for us. But I've become a detailed person. I don't think I asked every time. I don't think I asked about the last time, but I don't ask every time. But I do ask, and I like to hear the stories. You know, I don't know. It gets me going. So I very much enjoy the stories. So.
And the videos.
Yes. There were videos.
Both parties consent.
If both parties consent. Or all parties.
Yeah, all parties consent.
There may be more than two.
There may be a couple.
There might be a couple extra parties.
There might
There would have been videos last night, but parties did not consent, which is fine. We don't make it weird.
Absolutely not.
There's not a stack of NDAs at the door. This isn't a Diddy party.
This is not something crazy. This is a very consensual adults, interacting with each other in a positive fashion. And at times, yes, sex is involved, but not always.
Thank you. So I think now that we've cleared that up, New Year's Eve party was great.
Fantastic.
Had a wonderful time. Had some in-depth vacation. I'm thinking about just rest. We had some in-depth conversations all over the place. So all over food, drink, and squirts.
It was great.
So, and not those kind. The good kind.
Yeah, the good kind.
So, yeah, great evening was had by all. We ended up going to bed around 5:15. My alarm went off to get up as I was laying down.
And I didn't even really, I feel like I've slept maybe 3 hours, maybe. I think I'm just.
And I still feel okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm fine.
I'm going to take a
Crash
shower here
sleep.
and go to sleep at some point.
Yeah,
but
same.
yeah, we're okay. We're good. So, yeah, that's catching you up. So, we've kind of put everything out there. And we will talk about polyamorous situations as they come up here and there.
Right.
We're not going to cram this down anybody's throat.
No, absolutely not.
Pause. But, it is what we do. That's part of why we're a little different here. Not your random couple giving marriage advice. We ain't really doing that. We just talking about some shit that we do, some shit that happened, and how we feel about some other shit.
And having a good time in life.
Yeah, that's it. That was the New Year's Eve party, and we're going to go on to our blunt topics.
Okay.
So blunt topics is basically 3 or 4 stories that catch our eye, and we kind of want to talk about them. So we'll go ahead and go with story number 1.
Breaking news this morning, New Orleans police and the FBI investigating the mass casualty incident, a pickup truck driver plowing right into a crowd of people, killing at least 10 early this morning on New Year's Day. They say that driver got out of the vehicle and fired shots, hitting 2 officers, and was shot and killed as police returned fire. 3 dozen other people have been injured. This is at Canal and Bourbon Streets. They say the man hit the crowd at about 3:15 this morning, driving very fast down Bourbon Street, intentionally aiming for crowds.
Last night, we had over 300 officers out here. And because of the intentional mindset of this perpetrator who went around our barricades in order to conduct this, he was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did.
Police are urging people to stay away from the area for at least 8 blocks. Investigators also saying at a news conference they are checking an improvised explosive device that was found inside the vehicle. They're planning another news conference at noon. Also, we'll bring you updates throughout the day on air and online as soon as they come into the Local 10 newsroom.
So this happened, I think you told me about this. I've been up
Yeah.
and moving around and running errands and doing stuff.
You had been to Cordova and back,
Yeah.
actually.
And I had no idea. So what happened in New Orleans? First, New Orleans is special to us. It's like we're in the process. We don't live there, but we feel like
it's home.
it's
like
home,
a second home
for us. We have been down Bourbon Street many a time, and we'll be going down Bourbon Street here probably in another month or two for her birthday. We normally go to New Orleans for at least a day, and we stay pretty close to there. Where we normally stay is about 45 minutes away, and that's kind of our neck of the woods. But this year, we're going to be in New Orleans for a few days and just split the time. It was jarring because this story is still developing. It happened less than a day ago.
It happened at 3:15 this morning.
And you had a friend that
I do.
was there.
I do. My friend Justin was there. I noticed that people were, like Facebook marking themselves safe thing. And his said from the New Orleans vehicle attacks. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I texted him and I was like, hey, what's going on? And I looked up some stuff and, was kind of looking at news stories and things. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so he said that, that he had actually left Bourbon early, or else he would have still been in the area where all of it took place, if he hadn't have left early to go back to his hotel room. So, which absolutely makes me sick because he's very sweet, and all of this stuff that happened. Basically, they're saying on the news it's a terrorist attack. Nobody has said fully if it's a terrorist attack yet or not. I was talking to our daughter earlier, and we were talking about it, and it's just it is completely unfathomable to me, knowing how many times I have walked up and down that street, for this man to have gotten a vehicle down there just because the
roads are narrow. For those of you who haven't been to New Orleans, just think of the oldest part of any town you've been in, like the old part of town.
Like cobblestone streets.
Yeah,
like these
they're narrow.
Are narrow and cobblestone streets. Like it's not a paved road that you think of like in a regular little city.
Yeah, I don't even think they're as big as a 2-lane.
They're not.
They're slightly smaller than
in the French Quarter of New Orleans. It is in one of the oldest parts of the country. And so, yes, the streets are very narrow and the buildings are right there on the street. Basically, there's not much of even a sidewalk on either side. So, yes, people do walk in the street. And we need to add in that the bars and things in that area don't close until 5 a.m. So it would not have been uncommon, especially on New Year's Eve, for people to be, on Bourbon Street at 3:15 in the morning. But anyway, but it's just, like I said, it is just crazy to me to think of how this man got this, what seemingly looks like a work truck via the videos that I've seen, but onto Bourbon Street, and was able to accelerate up to 70 miles an hour. They said that when this man hit people, he was going 70 miles per hour. And then when he finally got stopped, he got out of the vehicle and had explosives and was toting a gun.
He'd planned this for a while.
He had obviously planned this. They said that they had found different markers throughout parts of the French Quarter in the city right there, where he had, left different things for, I guess, where he was planning to go next or something. But, thank goodness, hate that there was loss of life, for the gentleman. But I mean, Jesus, he killed 10 people and injured over 30. As of now, whether he shot, whether he ran over them, they said it was mass chaos. And I watched an interview with a gentleman that was on Bourbon Street. And then when they started hearing all the chaos, they ran inside to the building that they were in and ended up going out onto the balcony. And he said it looked like a literal scene out of a movie. It was that gory and chaotic, and just, he said, I would I don't ever want to see anything like that again in my whole entire life. It was a complete nightmare. And, now he has to live with that. Like the emotional damage that these people
all those people have to live
that all those people have to live with, not just the people that were injured, not the people that lost family members, not, all of that, but the witnesses. I mean, and you've got to think about this time of year, especially between New Year's and
Mardi
Gras. I mean, New Orleans is popping.
New Orleans is popping regardless, but this is extra. They had the Super Bowl is in New Orleans.
I mean, everything, that is going on in this time frame is all circled around, the New Orleans area. And so there's just a lot of spotlight on it, which is why I guess that, maybe this guy chose to do that. I don't know. Maybe he will be actually determined through the government to be a terrorist act.
Which is what they're saying right now.
They're saying right now.
I believe it to be also when you run over people and have bombs strapped to you.
That should automatically
other places.
Yes,
they're planning on doing as much damage.
You're gonna fuck up some shit.
Possibly can.
You just are. You have nothing but bad intentions. Set out for yourself.
And our heart, I don't want to say thoughts and prayers because that's bullshit, but like the people down there, they don't deserve this.
They don't deserve this. They don't deserve this at all, because the people in New Orleans and in that area are some of the nicest people.
They're our people. They're our type of people.
And, they're not there to judge you. They're there. It's all about love and peace and, good vibes and, making sure that you do right by each other. And, after Katrina hit, that area has just taken blow after blow, but in different ways. And then this just happening and then just the loss of life by so many people right here at the start of the year and everything. It really just puts a black balloon over the city and, and we really do our thoughts and everything. Just we give love to all of the people in that area because y'all are our people, and we hate to see any tragedy happen. But
and
especially
if
in a city that's
anything that we can do when we're down there,
absolutely,
we'll definitely. And I think that's probably something we should look into doing. Is just something we can do to help out.
Right.
Just anything. But yeah, that's a hell of a way to start with your first story, but
sorry for all of that's
the first one.
The darkness at that one, but anyway.
Second story.
Ben Affleck cozied up with ex-wife Jennifer Garner on Thanksgiving amid his divorce from Jennifer Lopez, sparking buzz. The duo volunteered at LA's Midnight Mission, sharing smiles and whispers while serving meals with their kids. Later, they drove off together, fueling speculation about their bond. Insiders say Thanksgiving is all about being drama-free for Ben, only good vibes, and Jen is fully on board. Could their closeness cause trouble for Jen's boyfriend, John Miller? Share your thoughts in the comments, and for more on this dramatic divorce saga, follow All Time Entertainment.
All right. Ben Affleck, Jennifer Garner, this is part 3. How do you feel about Ben Affleck's inability to
maintain a Jennifer or
to keep a Jennifer happy? This is a joke.
It's totally a joke.
But yeah, he is rotating Jennifers.
We've got a Jennifer we could send his way.
Yeah, we do.
I don't know. She kind of likes black dick at this point, so I don't know that she'd be about that. But anyway,
yeah,
I don't know. Anyway, no, it's just kind of gotten weird to me at this point. I mean, like, okay, in the words of Madeira, do to suit yourself. If it makes them happy, they like it, I love it, whatever. But it's just, this is the reason why I would never really want to be a true celebrity, because I don't want my life broadcasted for the masses to see every move that I make. And that's the way their life is, no matter who he's with. I mean, he's a superstar. They are both superstars. I mean, you've got this tier already set up that you're out there for the world to see anyway, and then you bounce back and forth between the same two women. I mean, it's it's honestly what regular people do.
First, I agree with everything you said. I feel that with a lot of this, being a star is the issue.
I mean,
People do this every day.
it is the life that you choose,
Yes.
for starters.
So again, that's people's lives. You just want to. It's the thing. We're not going to cover a whole lot of Hollywood type things, but I just thought it was interesting that when he's done with one Jennifer, he's back with the other, and then he's back with the other Jennifer. It's just strange.
I mean, it's kind of like a man who either, has a wife or whatever, and then they break up, and then he bounces to another chick, and then they break up, and he goes back to the other one, and like people that get divorced and remarried and divorced and remarried and that kind of stupid shit.
Like that. So we're going to be done with story number 2. On the story number 3.
Meet Mr. A. Every morning, Mr. A strolls into the office at 9 a.m., swiping his badge with perfect enthusiasm. He hits a few meetings, grabs coffee with colleagues, and keeps the daily buzz going. But here's the twist. Come noon, he sneaks out, heading home to wrap up his work in comfort. By around 5, he's clocked out. Mission accomplished. Mr. A has redefined the 9 to 5 in his own terms. And interestingly, this trend also has a name.
A new trend emerging in the back-to-office push, and that is coffee badging.
Coffee badging is two worlds colliding. It's employers wanting to get their workers back into the office, and employees desire to really have more flexibility on the job. Coffee badging is happening because workers are using this as a soft revolt against their return to office mandates that companies have put out. And they just badge in, have a coffee, check in with their colleagues, do some work, and then release their office.
It's a silent protest to say, I just want it.
So coffee badging, that's the new term. That's going into work, getting a cup of coffee, clocking in, and going home around noon and finishing your day. It's people working from home having issues with coming back to the office. What do you think?
I mean, if your job can be done without you having to go into an office, then I think that's fantastic. If you'd like that and your company allows for it, then great. If your job requires that you be in an office, then you kind of got to take your ass to the office. I guess I'm just.
Well, what do you think about during COVID? We know that you can perform your job. Like me, for instance, my job. I could do my job sitting right where I'm at right now on a daily basis.
You can.
Yet I'm in the office 97% of the time. And I work when I'm home. That's part of my issue. I need to stop doing that. Stop doing all the extra stuff and checking things and things like that as I work, or as my day goes along. But if I didn't feel good tomorrow, I could work from home. So why can't I just work from home? I understand why. They got buildings they're paying for.
Right.
They got all that stuff there. I get it. But from the employer's perspective, but from the employee's perspective, you're forcing me
to come back into the office
just to change venue.
Yeah.
And I think it's like I tell people, when you've done something different, this goes back to us being polyamorous. When you've done something different, it's hard to go back
to regular.
Even if we decided to go back to regular, like I've told people, I could do that with you.
Oh, well, yeah.
But if something was to happen to us, and I don't ever wish that, don't want to think about it.
No, never.
So we're going to say plane crash, car wreck, something like that. I am a polyamorous person. I'm never going to be a monogamous individual.
Right.
Again, because even if I was to do something, it would always be there because I know what it's like now.
Right.
And I know that worked for me and I enjoyed that.
Right.
So I can't really necessarily be something else.
Yeah. And I mean, and like we said earlier, like it doesn't change our marriage or our relationship, it only enhances it, honestly, because our marriage is still and will always be just as solid as what it is now. I mean, if anything, I think since we started on this journey, you know, we've communicated more. We have discussed things
It
more.
requires a hell of a lot of communication.
I mean, communication out the ass. It's crazy, but it is one of those things that you always know where the other person is. And I think that kind of leads us back into the whole going back into the office. It's the whole people want to know what you're doing. They want to have security that you're doing what you're doing. And when you're looking at a position like corporate America, you know, in a sense, and I understand why people are upset, and I would be upset if it were something that affected me. My job does not constitute that, so therefore I can't do that. I have to be in person and on all day, every day. But if my job were to allow that, then yeah, I mean, I think it'd be great. But as the type of person that I am, I would eventually want some sort of interaction with either fellow employees, my boss. I mean, just so I need
Got
that.
Teams for that.
But I need that face to face. And I mean, more than just a video conference. You know, I need to be able to, I can hide stuff. I mean, granted, my face gives me away every time. However, if I needed to, I could hide my emotions on a video conference. I do it on conference calls with people all the time. Hide my emotions. But it's one of those things that sometimes it requires an in-person visit.
And I agree with sometimes. I just don't agree with you can work from home when it's a health issue. But now that shit's over, bring your ass back in here.
Right.
You've already opened the gate and shown me that I can be more productive in most cases.
If I'm at home.
From my house.
In a focused area.
In my draw.
Yeah. I mean.
Working away.
Doing my stuff while I'm comfortable. You know, like I said, my job doesn't permit for that, but
I mean, I get it. I understand. I understand both sides, and I hate both sides anything, but
right.
Being in management, I get why they want you in the office, even though studies show that most people work about 4 hours of their shift, 3 to 4 hours of their shift. The rest of it, they're just fluffing off. They're surfing the web. They're doing all types of stuff. But it gives that old school train of thought of being able to see you. Like you said, I see you.
I can keep my eyes on you.
So I think you're working when really you're watching a movie.
Right.
Or
I think you're
on Facebook or you're surfing the web.
Right.
Or stuff like that.
Something like that. Okay.
All right.
Next.
We are at our last segment. Last segment we're going to call Shot for Shot. Shot for Shot is basically just some rapid fire questions, and sometimes they're topical, sometimes they're not. But we're going to just go back and forth.
They're always interesting.
Very. They're never not interesting. What's the most valuable lesson you've learned in 2020?
That I have to give myself grace. I have to allow myself time to, if I need to have a meltdown, if I need to, I have to give myself time to cope with things. I am no longer of the age bracket or mindset where I can just take shit being thrown at me. I have to be able to have time to process it and think through it, and in order to feel secure about something. If shit just starts getting thrown at me, I get extremely overwhelmed, and then I get very angry. And I know that about myself. I don't like that about myself, but it's something that I know. And so I know that I have to let people know that I need to have a certain amount of grace extended to me in order for me to be the most productive version of myself.
I would say 2024 taught me that I can't do everything. I have got to ask for help, and that's been an issue for me since birth. I am a roll it up my sleeves and get it done myself. I'm just a man. That's what we do.
Oldest children.
And so finding a way to get it done. Can I get it done? Yes. Is it the best use of my time, energy, resources? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not. And so asking for help is something that I've learned I've had to do. This is actually for you because I'm not able to answer this question. At what inch does a woman consider a man's dick big?
I would say probably 7, 6, 7 inches. But
I said inch, not inches.
okay, well, at what inch? So I would say probably 6. And the reason that I say that is because, however, there are stipulations.
Always with you.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I like what I like, but if you have a 6-inch dick and it is as skinny as a toothbrush, I don't got time for that.
Brush dick is no good.
That is no good. I need some
You need some girth.
girth. I do. I need some girth. I need to be able to feel what I'm working with. If you're going to put on a condom and lose it inside of me because your dick is small, I don't need that in my life. And I will move on to the next person. So, yeah. Okay.
Wow. Okay. So what did we say? 7?
I'm
I was
going-
lost. I was just listening.
Lengthwise, I'm going 7, or 6, but it needs to have some girth.
Okay. So she said it's got to be girthy. That wasn't even part of the question, but
Yeah.
well, yeah. Okay. That's how she answers. See, this is what y'all gonna get every show we do.
Gonna get an explanation. I'm sorry. That's just me.
Yeah. Okay. New person. What has you optimistic in 2025?
Just upcoming opportunities. I think that we as a family are going to be doing some things that are things we've never done before, kind of stepping outside of our comfort zone. And just the fact that I think that my health is finally to a spot where I feel like I can maybe do things again that I haven't been able to do for a while. So I'm hoping that that everything goes well for me to be able to be as productive and happy as I can this year in all aspects of my life.
Okay. For me, what has me optimistic in 2025 is new opportunities at the job and things like that. But also doing this, branching out, doing things, trying new things, with you, seeing how, you move in this space and the Instagram page and all the love you've been getting off of that, and just with this podcast and getting you to do it, because I've thought about it for a few years. I think we are moving more into ourselves, and we are very weird people, and that's okay. I mean, just being comfortable in our own skin, doing stuff with the family, and adventures. Always an adventure.
Doing things that we enjoy together.
Gotta have a story to tell. That's it. You can't say you've been someplace and don't
not
have a story
to tell.
So that's it. This is another one for you. Why do girls like girls? And what this means is, in this day and time, and we know a lot of people that are like this, and this wasn't something I expected personally. The question doesn't mean in a lesbian sense or even a bisexual sense. This is like a, look up this term, y'all. I'm going to call it heteroflexible. First of all, we believe everything's a spectrum. So, some people are further along than others, but there seems to be, in this day and age, straight women don't mind kissing girls, touching girls, doing all types of having sex with women sometimes,
Right.
just because. We've experienced it, and I know we're in the space, but there are a lot of quote unquote straight, I'm just going to use that, women that
Get a little alcohol in them.
not even that was the previous generation. This
Well,
new
that's true.
iteration
Yeah.
says, damn, that bitch got a fat ass. I want to touch
that.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I touch it? Ooh,
Or
I like
she's
you.
got nice
Let me
titties.
kiss you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I touch your titties?
Right.
And then the next thing you know, they kissing, And there's no alcohol or anything involved.
Right. So back to the original question, you said, why do women like women? Women like women because women are soft and sensual. And we know as a woman, we have most likely, not everyone, but most likely, especially if you're listening to this podcast, you have pleasured yourself. You know what makes you feel good. So therefore, if you do what makes you feel good to somebody that feels like yourself, then you get double the pleasure out of that. So it's kind of like it's a physical thing. It's a mental thing. But, women are just, bodies are beautiful. Women's bodies are beautiful.
I 100% understand, but you are one of these women. What I am talking about, 1955, a average 25-year-old woman will not even allow themselves to think that they could do this.
But it's
25 woman,
because it's
average of
now.
25.
It's accepted now.
Is it because I believe genetically everything is the same? I think all the
it's been the same throughout time.
All the percentages are probably constant.
Right.
I mean, it might be 10% one year, 13 the next, 8 the next.
It's fairly consistent.
But it's fairly consistent. Do you think that maybe societal issues, mothers, because I know we talk to our kids all the time about stuff, and they bring stuff to us, and we handle it. We don't say, "Oh no, we don't do that." That's not ever been an answer. Oh no, we don't do that.
So no.
Oh no, that's wrong.
Here's
don't
what
do
I feel
that.
like. I feel like that, given through time, most of the time, especially when your kids are young, you are focused on your kids. When you go through phases in life. So I think whenever you are in your 20s, unless you do this kind of thing when you're in college or in high school, and you kind of, like a friend of ours, kind of, you always live this life where you've been interested and intrigued by one sex or the other or both.
But could she have done that in the 50s is what I'm saying.
In the right circles, yes. It would be generically. In general, no, because it was not something that was accepted. Women's bodies, unless you were a pinup girl, were taboo. That's why you had the outfits, the swimsuits, the things that were considered sexy back then are not considered sexy. They're considered very modest by today's standards. But you got people walking around half-ass naked, which is fine if that's what they want to do. Have at it.
Or some people walk around completely naked.
Like me, but I just, I don't like clothes. That's neither here nor there. It's a sensory thing, whatever. But back to it, I feel like as each decade has passed by since, there's always been lesbian activities. There's always been bisexual and gay activities.
Agreed.
There's always been those type of activities. However, people have become more comfortable with their bodies and their selves and what they allow for themselves, because they understand what gives them pleasure, whether it's something, and as long as you're not hurting anybody else, then why should you really give a fuck what somebody else does or doesn't do?
So 30 years from now, well, I say 30 years, we'll say 20 years from now,
I think it's going to be even more accepted.
No, this is my thing.
Okay.
Me and Lil Man in the truck. Lil Man is going to be my grandson, whoever has
we got a future pop over here.
Yeah. So me and him sitting in the truck, and he's like 7, 8 years old, and he was like, Dad, or Pop, or whatever they call me. I don't know what I want to be called. Anyway, Grandma's real nice. And I was like, well, your grandma used to kiss on girls. I mean, that.
But why you got to go there? Why you got to go there with my futuristic grandchild that doesn't even exist?
I mean, because I got to be the one that's liked more.
Oh, my God.
I mean, as he gets older, he'll like you more, because then he'll want to know what kind of girl. Why did you do that? You'd be curious about that stuff.
Yeah.
But when they're young, he'll be like, ew. And I'll be like, yeah, she nasty. Get on with it. You come over here, stay with me.
Don't kiss Grandpa on the mouth.
Yeah, you don't know where her mouth been. So, yeah, the last question of the shot. Do men still care if a woman can cook? I think this is more geared toward me, but you can chime in if you want to. I'm going to say no.
I'm going to give you my straight up answer, and then I'll let you finish.
Okay,
finish out.
let me finish then. Go ahead.
No, they do not care, because if they don't already cook for themselves, then food can be picked up. There is always a way at this point to get food brought directly to your door without you having to make a move, period, end of story. Whether you love or like a home-cooked meal is your personal preference. To a lot of people, food is food, regardless of where it comes from or what it is.
I feel like she's shooting shots.
They just want to be fed. So it's one of those things that, no, I don't feel like a man, especially of the younger generation, unless they have grown up in a family where their mother cooked, their grandmother cooked, that kind of stuff. Now, I think that men in your generation and
we remember mama cooking.
Yeah, I mean,
we remember grandmama cooking.
Right. And so you do appreciate a home-cooked meal, you know, I mean, and the old, you know, reference of, you know, a man's way to a man's heart is through his stomach, you know, or whatever. No, not necessarily, because if you can suck that dick pretty good, he ain't gonna worry about getting fed. You know, so just,
oh boy.
Anyway, go ahead now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nikki Marley, everybody. I just generally gonna say men of a certain age, yes. I think men a little bit older than me, it is a requirement.
Deal breaker.
Men in my age bracket, it depends.
It's a plus depending upon how you grew up.
Me personally, I grew up learning how to do. I was always in somebody's kitchen, our kitchen, or either my grandmother's kitchen. My dad cooked, my mama cooked. We cooked when we got old enough and they were at work. I am a very good cook. Do I want a home cooked meal? Yeah, I do. Do I want it 7 days a week at 5:30, my plate on the table? No.
Boy, don't clink your eyes. Cheap glass, isn't it? I'm knocking upside your head.
I just want 2 meals, really. And then if I don't get that, I don't get that. I mean, I can cook myself.
And by 2 meals, he means 2 home cooked meals a week.
Yeah, 2 home cooked meals a week.
2 meals a day.
No,
we ain't here.
Shit, she ain't doing it.
I'm not. I'm
she wouldn't
like my sleep.
She wouldn't do it if she was here. But it's some now kids younger or guys, kids younger than me. I think the way that they grew up is completely unnecessary to have a woman be able to.
Right. Like your younger brother, even though y'all grew up in the same household, I do not feel like it is important because he has been used to cooking for all of his time once he got away from your mama's house. I mean, so I feel like a woman being able to cook is not going to be something.
I think it's a bonus
for him. I think it's a bonus,
great,
but yeah, it's not.
But it's not necessary. And I think for even younger than him, I'm talking early 30s.
Oh, well,
30s,
that doesn't matter.
Early 30s, they could care less.
Yeah, they could care less.
So, there you go. It's a generational divide. Older than me, yeah, it's a deal breaker. Me, I don't really care. Just if you can bust a skillet a couple times a week, I don't care. And that's just on average, because sometimes I don't want to cook. I'll eat a bologna sandwich in a heartbeat. PB&J is my middle name. And it's fine. But, you know, if you can put a Sunday meal on, I'll just take that just once. And it's just because for me personally, I don't have to do it. That is the biggest thing. I don't have to. So, yeah, it's just, it depends on the man and what generation he's in. So that is it for Shot for Shot.
First episode's in the books, y'all. We hope you enjoyed it. We plan on putting these out bi-weekly for now, and we'll definitely be giving you something to talk about. You can find the podcast on all of your favorite streaming platforms, our Facebook page, Weed and Whiskey, and you can follow me on Instagram at the Nikki Marley. Thanks for listening, y'all. Talk soon.
Later, hoes.